You are listening to Let's Go, the weekly anime podcast about weekly anime from Dynamite in the Brain and Secret of the Sailor Madness. So come along and hang with the Let's Go gang. It's Dwayne.
Hello.
It's Niall.
Hurry.
And it's me, Brian. And on this episode, we watch so much anime, we've got superpowers.
Look at my aura behind me. It's flaring up. The Brian's aura. That's doing something else entirely, but it's flaring.
I just got cursed. Yeah, it sucks.
Yes, anime September 28th to October the 4th, 2024. It's the start of a new season, but forget that. Let's go back to Detective Conan for episode 1136, a number most of these series can only dream of getting to.
Hey, don't count them out. That manure spirit can go places.
Ooka Momoji's Sweet Trap Part 2. In which it turns out the writer did it, but how did he do it? Well, here's how they did it. He knew that the director, despite saying his doctor told him he can't eat pizza, he always offers to slice the pizza because he's got a way of
I can't eat the pizza,
slicing.
but I guess I can cut the pizza, and that'll be enough for me. And I was like, is he just licking the pizza cutter, which is a terrible idea because those things spin.
But no, it's the clever way of stealing a slice of pizza from a pizza. I'm sure I've seen elsewhere before as well.
It's a basic thing of calculating the circumference of a circle, but these pizzas kind of got a giant slice all the way through where it kind of comes to a point on the other side. But then you put it all up, and it's more like an oblong, but it's a pizza slice. No one's going to fucking pay attention. Like, this pizza is not spherical. It's fine. You'll get away with it. But he knew, and it's important that he knew, because of all the fucking backstabbing that was going on before any of this shit went down.
Yes, because he was having an affair with the actress, but this was under the manipulation of the director.
The director ordered the actress to have an affair with him. And he's like, but I love my wife. And he's like, yeah, but she's hot though. And he's like, ooh, she is hot though. So, and she's like, I will do anything the director asked me of me because he made my career, including having an affair with you and ruin your marriage. And he's like, oh no, now that we've had sex, that's going to ruin my marriage. And she's like, not if you stay in line. And he's like, got to murder her. That's going to be important to.
Yes. So, yeah, the technique that he used is he put a handkerchief under the door, which was the same pattern as the director's shirt, and wedged the door shut with a power ball. Yeah. And he was like banging it against his own toe to make the sound of it banging against a body.
But just the idea of like when you shove like a rubber ball, like it does like catch, like it has a lot more friction. But if you just push the door gently, there was no one behind the door. It would have just opened and shoved the ball out of the way.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's pretty clever. But the whole fucking thing with the lollipops was utter fucking bullshit. I guess.
Well, and they do point out the thing with the lollipops was a poor part of his plan, and we're fairly certain we're going to find you fingerprints on it.
The other part that was poor part of the plan is you noticed that one of the lollipops didn't make a noise when it hit the ground, and that's when Conan and the other lad figure it out like immediately. They're like, "Oh, we got it now!" And I was like, "I'm gonna go back and fucking watch episode 1 again," and I fucking did. And then all the lollipops fall at the same time. There's no fucking Foley work or nothing. They were very specific about the things of glass hitting the ground, not the fucking lollipops. And I was like, "Fuck you, show! I couldn't have figured that out." Bullshit.
Meanwhile, before we get to this, Momiji has almost stabbed Heiji with a knife in the kitchen.
She's tripped over not knowing how to hold a fucking carving knife.
I don't. I given how smart she is.
Listen, if you're going to fall in a way that you will fall on top of your boy crush and he grabs your tit in order to break your fall, I feel like you shouldn't do that with a fucking sharp knife. That's living dangerously, and I don't think you should do that.
No, but I think she knew what she was doing because she's not an idiot.
The knife, though. The knife was a terrible plan. That was the worst part of her plan, I guess. Involving a fucking kitchen knife. But yeah, our girls across town, their spidey senses tingling. It's just like, oh, fucking something's going on. But she's like, I can't be rushing you around fucking eating the sweets. It's like, she's really trying to knock those pastry sandwiches back, and it's just like, no, it can't be done.
Don't worry, Heiji won't do anything. He's a 66-year-old man, as he increasingly sounds in his voice.
He's mature.
Yeah, it's getting harder and harder to disguise some of these the actors' ages, unfortunately.
Oh man, I can't believe I'm gonna graduate high school soon.
Yeah, it's pretty much he sounds older than Kogoro does at this point.
Kogoro's quite youthful quite often. It's just his bounciness, I think.
Yes, so that's all settled. We learned that the chief from the Tokyo Metropolitan Police has got a very keen sense of smell because he can smell the pizza on the corpse's breath, and also we can smell an animal. There's an animal somewhere around, and so the detective has to tell his chipmunk, "Stay in the pocket. Don't let him notice you."
Stay in the pocket. I'm trying to be the cool detective for once, and I'm the chipmunk detective, so I don't really get that distinction. So if you could keep it on the DL, I'd really appreciate it. A part of your man's backstory of the killing the actress and then obviously killing the director is I liked the idea, and again, the Conan shows they don't have much great in terms of animation, so they did the wibbly wobbly thing to make this more threatening. Of the director kind of going to him, was like, "Wait, you're a real murderer? Oh, that's perfect for writing my fucking murder mystery thing I'm doing next. What's better than a script written by a murderer about a murderer? Fantastic! This is going to because he was all about realism as a director, and he's like, I gotta kill the director now. Fucking hell.
Yeah, they didn't spell it out, but the way they were talking about the director, I was like, oh, I bet he was planning once the play was on to then dob him into the police. So
yeah. Once it's a wild success, and again, that's just good advertising after the fact. So yeah.
Yes, then it'll be the controversial play written by an actual murderer. Come and see the thoughts of a murderer on the stage.
Don't worry, he's in jail now, so you can totally give us your money. Yeah.
All throughout the episode, we've seen the butler / bodyguard is looking out as if they're being followed around the town in Kyoto, and that the reveal at the end is that he used to be also in the public service bureau. Like
he also has a pseudonym.
Zero.
Everyone fucking does.
Yes, he's been undercover previously. He doesn't use that anymore, and he's like, "Yes, I've seen the blonde guy at the restaurant." And then Conan is hiding, sneaking a listen to this conversation because obviously he doesn't know we know that Rum is not this guy, so he wants to figure out. Be suspicious of everybody.
Are you a guy working for Rum, or it's like, oh, you were a secret policeman, that kind of thing? Okay, that's different.
Yes,
it's a different kind of problem, but yeah.
And then a car goes past, and all three of them go, "That car was suspicious. There's something suspicious about that car." And then we check in the car, and there are two new suspicious men we've never met before.
One's like, "Sir, there seems to be an accident with a bunch of policemen." And he's like, "Don't worry, they're all fools."
Well, no, he says that group is fools. So I assume he's talking about the Ooka group, not the detectives.
I mean, like the implications he could be talking about the detectives. Yeah.
Yes, but because I was like, just the way it was phrased, I was like, it's to do with the Ooka group, because we know while Ooka's family is not directly connected to the Asuka case, their name came up when they were talking about the middle brother being adopted into that family, that rich family, and like they would know each other. So presumably, whoever the really old guy on the oxygen mask is in the back of this car is also made of money and is somehow, which is probably going to draw Sonoko and her granddad into it at some point, because obviously they're loaded characters as well.
If he's not just rich, like this is an old man, he's driving like a Bentley or something. I don't fucking know. So it's like he's old money, that kind of shit. And also we know that the mysterious figure running the fucking pulling the strings, that kind of shit, is an immortal old man using the same drugs that turns Conan into a baby.
Possibly. So, though I think in like a recent story I was reading in the manga, there is a baby who's in shadow.
Oh, beautiful.
And he's being driven by a man whose face we see, who's another old man, but not as old as the guy he's driving around.
Okay.
Yes, and these are our two new mysterious characters. We don't know if they're good guys or bad guys yet. But they were definitely suspicious because it set off three of our detectives going, "What?"
Their detective radar, yeah.
And that's where we are, and we'll take a break as it goes back into non-related stories.
Oh, the not girlfriend showed up at the thing as everything was popping off, and a dude was being arrested, and she's like, "What the fuck just went down?" It's like, "Don't worry," and your one who wants to be your man's girlfriend, said, "Don't worry, we did have like physical intimacy though, so don't let that bug you." And she's like, fucking sorry, you're gonna have to be a bit more specific. Your man's like, fucking, we caught a murderer. Don't worry about it. It's just a regular day in Bacon Town.
And I don't think we'll see those two until the sequel to this story again, which
For
only just finished in the
years
comic
and
a few
years
weeks
and
ago.
years. All right.
You crazy kid.
Then we got the Elusive Samurai, episode 12. Hang in there, Tokiyuki, until the day you retake Kamakura.
I guess that must be one of the most welcome final episode opening things that you've ever seen with this fucking season,
Yeah.
having so many goddamn things we're talking about.
Even though it was more all about Kojiro, kind of like, yeah, I gotta come to my own as like, you know, as like a good lieutenant, a good second in command for Tokiyuki. How do I do that? How do I make friends with people?
You learn their names. Don't just have a weird fucking description of them, even though they look weird. I will admit they do look fucking weird.
It is just like, you know, you there with square features, but it can't mean me. I mean, obviously, I got these like ringlets up here, so like, obviously it's not me.
You there, baldy? It's like, I'm not bald. I have grow hair in the back of my head, but I shave it. And it's just like all these fucking guys. Like, you thought my character's name was One Note? Incorrect, sir. Just a bunch of weirdos. He gets them all because they're gonna. There's another group kind of coming around the main army to kill the women's and the children's. So they're like, okay, we'll get those guys, head them off at the pass, and then that ends up being kind of group on group, but also mostly like two horseback riders of our young general to be, I guess. And
and
can't think of the big guy's
dude.
name. Yeah, the big guy. The big sumo wrestler looking dude who
Monokura, Tamakura, something like that. The big dude.
I was wondering, was my video freezing? Because when it was doing that, it's like a horse moves as fast as a punch. And I was like, am I supposed to be seeing footage of punching, or is these photographs you've taken of punching and horses? It was photographs, it seems. Yeah.
Creative solutions, you know, they don't always, you know, kind of as subtle and nuanced as that one, but they do what they can.
Yeah. But yeah, it's he's using the fact that he can flip around and do flippy tricks to fuck this dude up, and also to get him overconfident so that all his weird looking guys can take care of all the dudes, and then just pull this cunt off his horse. I was just like, oh yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, just do that as well. You know, like we're not fucking honoring fucking guys out the window here. They pull dirty shit first, so we'll pull dirty shit back on them and just stab his ass before he falls off his horse.
Yeah, and speaking of dirty shit, that's when we have the guy who's been appointed by the emperor to oversee this thing and is bad at his job.
You send a cow, so that's all I hear.
Yeah, basically he's giving terrible orders and they're tricking him left, right, and center. And it's just like we have our more experienced general child go like, I'm not going to kill that guy. He's terrible at his job. This is just doing us benefits having him on their side, which is true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ichikawa, the actual one with combat experience here, is just like a gas. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Oh, this is stupid. All we gotta do is just close the gate and it's ours. And say no.
And also, we basically have it won, but yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, oh man, if the public official gets killed, I'm going to take the blame here.
Yeah. He has to protect this moron from his own ineptitude. And even there's like, oh, they got flags across the river. They must be sailing an army. He's like, no, my superhuman ears say there's no fucking army there. They probably just raised a bunch of flags to scare us. Like, we got to get out of here. I nearly got assassinated. It's like, oh my God. We would have total victory. And now we just have mostly victory. This sucks.
Yeah. It kind of contrasts them with the Levi's escaping. It's just like, you know, geez, you know, if we wanted to die honorably back there, we wouldn't be able to come home to our smiling like families who were hoping for you to come back. It's just, yeah, puts it on with perspective, man.
And the historian fucking over the voice basically is like, actually, he'd ruled this area for fucking ages. Like he lost the south bit, but he has the north bit, and he did grand. So like, this was the smart move.
Up until the samurai class were deposed, essentially. It's
like, I mean, like right up to the end of the
that's a pretty good run. Like, yeah,
up to the end of the game, that's doing very fucking well. Yeah.
Yes, there's the bit where Tokiyuki does this speech with his back to Hashida about how he
I'll
take
hold them
responsibility.
off.
Yes.
You go ahead.
Yes, I should also be chased. He's like, yeah, how noble. And then we see him like just glee in his eyes and like, oh boy, they're gonna chase me again.
Yeah.
Yonimaru was the guy who
Yonimaru, that's him.
got the his
who
face.
didn't get his head cut off because Kojiro says, "Nah, I learned a lot fighting him. I'm gonna leave him the honor of his keeping his head intact."
I did chop his head in two, like up ways rather than like neck ways.
Hey,
but you know,
I know I won. Also because we were retreating from your land, you couldn't like give me a gift anyway, so it's all right.
Yeah,
I'll take it an education over anything else today.
Yep. I wonder if they would. Is this always going to end on this date? Do we lose an episode due to that one? Because I was wondering if it was going to end on like the next bit where you get introduced to like, and here are the people we're going to be beating up next.
I can see them doing that at the start of a season rather than at the end of a season. I mean, like I know it's kind of set. You go like, oh, can't wait to see these weirdos, that kind of thing.
Yeah, because you could want to kind of check in. Oh, if they won that one, but let's check in on Takauji. What's he plotting? Oh, he's got this like his fucking he's perfect large numbers assembled. They're gonna come and beat up Tokiyuki.
Yes, I was pondering whether this actually ended where they intended, but it works. This is a complete story. I guess wait to see whether we get another season.
Yeah, again, I don't like no, it only kind of buckled under itself just that one time, and I guess as we get into more kind of open warfare, you get a lot more horse shots, so they got to work with that. But you know, I think they put it into the the abstractions and the big hits.
Yeah. CGI horses, a recap episode. Other than that, it's doing great. It's a really solid fucking show.
Then we got Chibi Godzilla Raids Again, episode 26 of season 2, Monster Motorcycle Gang, where Manila wants to learn how to ride a bike. And then they run into a motorcycle gang that Titano and Rodan have started.
No, Titano is riding a bike and Rodan is fucking riding his coattails, essentially.
Yes.
It's good.
I can't remember what happens to this beyond. I assume Titano just acting tough when he should.
It's a lot of it's on acting tough, but being really nice and being excited that Manila is learning how to ride a bike. It's like, hey, you want to join my gang? Whereas he absolutely does not want this hanger on of Rodan, like just coming after him, kind of thing. It's like, we're not in a gang, Rodan. You just started following me around. Being nice to the child and mean to Rodan. Funny.
Yeah, there's a rare shot from this cartoon that isn't in the proscenium arch, with him falling on the ground sort of at an angle, face towards the camera, Manila in the background. It's like a rare bit of ambition in the animation for this stupid cartoon.
Wow.
Then we've got Blue Box, episode 1, Chinatsu Sempai. The popular Shonen Jump comic. And this is a very slick, well-produced first episode of this comic, and I will probably just read the comic rather than watch the cartoon.
I will say though, this episode, fucking lovely, great opening episode, just like really nice looking all the time, like great use of color and lighting and motion, like just solid.
Yeah, the color stuff particularly and the light stuff is like so many other shows attempt that and fuck it up royally, and this gets it right.
Never fucked it up. Yeah.
They need to be perfect. Just needs to be better than any of those, and you're in.
Yes,
that's true.
Yeah. So this story is about Taiki Inamata, who's a high school. The high school, isn't it? Yeah.
He's just coming into high school from. It's like a joint junior high and high school.
So it's more like what our.
It's like it's like this part of the world where that's not divvied up into two different schools. But it's because it's a sports school. I guess they want to keep on the same people for the same kind of team. So yeah, that's why it does well as a sports school. And he is a badminton player, but
he's badminton. He comes in early in the morning to train, as does Jesse Kado, who's the star player of the girls' team of basketball. and he's got a crush on her.
And if only he could say his feelings. That's the standard
Yes.
problem, but yeah.
Taiki's also got a friend on the rhythm gymnastics team, and I assume she's going to end up having feelings for him as well. Of like,
She has a
oh,
good character
we're
design, is the
just
thing.
buddies, but I'm sure that will change as the school year goes by. And there's one other friend who's sort of deadpan.
Acerbic to his, like,
Yeah,
it's like, maybe she'll love me. It's like, she didn't even know your name, bro. It's just like, fucking don't be telling me that shit. Yeah.
He's also on the badminton team. There's a clue as to where the story is going when Taiki's making small talk with Chinatsu and mentions that his mum used to be on this basketball team, and Chinatsu goes, "Yeah, my mum used to be on this basketball team as well." I was like, "Okay, I know where this story's going."
I know it kind of. I think it does a decent enough, like, somewhat hiding of it. He's like, that's a point where we have fucking in common. I used to play basketball. I used to play hoops with Mem, so I can play a little basketball, so we can play a little one-on-one. It's like, it's a way to grow closer. And it's just like, no, incorrect.
Just don't know we're in a manga yet.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you know, Chinatsu's parents are going to move overseas for work.
That overseas. Why do we even have other countries?
Who do we know? Who can shelter our child while we're gone?
So there's a bit of angst.
There's a bit of angst where he's like, this is my last fucking chance. Instead of making a confession, I'm going to make a confession of how she's always been an inspiration to me, and I want her to get to the basketball finals this year, because I know it really upset her before, because I saw her crying that one time, and it probably where I started falling in love with her. But that's not the part I'm admitting right now. It's the part where it's like, you're really cool and I think you should do it. She's like, oh, I'm not going anywhere. I'm sticking around. Like, the family's gone, which is going to suck. But yeah, I'm sticking around. So this is awkward now.
Yep. Moving to your house. It's going to make things awkward. But yes, the problem is I'm old as fuck, and I've seen these plot twists multiple times in my life, and so it's like, it's all very well done, but I might just
that's the thing.
read the comic.
The other thing is, I do like the thing of, it's a romance thing and sports. 2 sports, because they're both doing different sports. I was like, that's actually quite good. It's so simple, but yeah.
That is the USP. It doesn't involve anybody dying and having to carry on somebody's dreams.
They're sneaking it in. Like we say with Kill Blue, the manga, like, oh, this is about like assassins at school. Fun saying, yes, and school clubs will sometimes play sports. You got it.
Yes. I think Shonen Jump realized they're having a hard time at the moment getting just a pure sports manga popular, but these stealth ones doing pretty well.
Could it have a magician in it? Yeah, good. Well, I don't know, fucking like Dog's Trade is probably. I don't know about this trending, but it seems like.
Yeah, it's not in the main Jump though, is it? It's on.
Yeah. That's the other thing in the main magazine.
Oh yes, I guess so.
You have a lot more survivability outside of the magazine. Yeah.
Also, with that kind of record and these kind of like kind of deranged take on how Itaki is played.
Just need somebody to combine an exorcism manga and sports. And
it's gonna happen one of these.
Basketball.
Sure. Talking of exorcisms, it's Dan to Dan, episode 1. That's how love starts, you know.
It's finally here for me and Niall. So,
fucking class, no notes.
That's fucking.
Next thing we watched was.
Yeah, like, watch it. It's really good. It's Science Sarah. What the fuck? Go fucking watch it. Jesus, what the fuck?
But it is like, again, like, this. Before I started, I thought I better start reading this Dan the Dune manga everyone is talking about, and it's from where it kind of is right now. It still has kept this. I don't know. It opens with a lot of pace to it. Never really like stops or not for long anyway. But some of the things that were in there were fun, saying, "Oh, you can't have this on a regular Shonen Jump app. It's got some saucy stuff in here. You can only access through, like, logging in the website." And it says it's really only just here, and then after this never really comes up again. Or
there's a lot of underpants fighting. There's a lot of underpants fighting.
But everyone gets naked, and there's no like sexual threat, except like something happens to the male lead, but we'll get on to that in future episodes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes. But yeah, this is a supernatural romance story about two high school students,
And they both play
Momo
soccer.
Ayase and Ken Takakura.
Not that
No,
one.
no. That's a handy coincidence for our story.
Who
The
will be
basic
cool.
thing is like I like the thing of you're both rooting for these teenagers, but also they're little shits quite fucking often. It's a really nice combination of just like the whole thing was like I believe in aliens, and she's like I believe in ghosts, and he's like ghosts aren't fucking real, and she's like what the fuck, man? I'm trying to make it this less weird.
I just put swats the magazine out of his hand upon saying, like, I went too far, about that. I'm saying,
Yeah.
ghosts aren't real. Fuck you! You want to go?
And her friends are kind of like, because she gets broken up at the start of the episode, broken up with, and it just kind of like, oh, she's bouncing back. All right, not my type, but whatever floats your boat, I suppose.
Yeah, and so one of them, Ken, who she calls Okarun, to distinguish him from the famous film actor who
But you
she has
can't
a
hear her
crush
say
on.
his name out loud because she will just go weak at the knees. She'll melt into a puddle.
That's her ideal
Yes.
kind of man. That the reason why she went with that piece of shit at the start of the episode is because he vaguely kind of looks like the guy. Not really, but yeah.
So ends up with Okarun going into a haunted tunnel and Momo going into a abandoned hospital where apparently UFOs are
UFO
seen.
sightings. Yeah.
Wouldn't you know?
UAPs, thank you.
Sorry. Yep. There is a distinction. Yes.
And wouldn't you know, they're
Thank
both
you.
right.
Everything is true. Hooray!
It's all real. The government's been lying to you.
Hmm.
Not your granny, though. Your granny is for real. So you got to
Granny is
remember
for
your
real,
granny.
and depending on your granny, she will nurture you into believing in ghosts and giving you something solid to base on, or offer you to suckle her tits so she can have them cojones.
Yes, because in the tunnel there is the Turbo Granny ghost.
Modern
And
urban legend.
It's such a good name as well, Turbo Granny. It's just fantastic. It's like, no, don't run away from her. If you get caught in a foot race with her and you lose, you're in trouble, basically. Yeah.
and in the hospital there are aliens who are harvesting humans' bananas.
They explain it's like we are a friendly race and we get on perfectly well with humanity. Unfortunately, we only have males, so we have to clone ourselves. But that's not genetic diversity. So, hey there, lady, we're going to impregnate you and give us your banana. As he pulls out his mechanical penis, I guess is the only way you can fucking call it. It's a horrific divisive thing, and you're just like, oh, is this good?
Yeah.
It feels weird, but it very quickly goes like, fuck these guys, fuck this. Like, so you're grand. Don't worry about that.
Yes, because Momo developed psychic powers there, and then now I'm trying to remember. I'll let you deal with the rest of it because I can't remember which bits happened in which episodes.
So what happens is they're trying to get her banana, and then she gets a phone call, and the aliens are like, what a fucking terrible timing to get a phone call. So they answer the phone, and out of it comes a cursed fucking Ken, and he's like, I'm all fucked up from curses, and they're like, oh Jesus Christ, that's some fucking weird technology we've never seen before. And while they're trying to hypnotize her into getting her banana, she develops psychic powers and fucks them up. They were in a spaceship the whole time. It crashes.
And they really fall out. It's just like, oh, well, this curse is following you around, and I had to teach my second part to keep the curse inside you from saying, oh, I'm very sorry, I am an awkward fellow after all. It's just like, what did you just say?
I can't keep calling you Otaku Kid. What's your name again? It's like, oh, it's the name of your one true love. Would you believe? And alien spaceship explodes. She's like, oh shit, I'm in a lot of trouble. But yeah, the plan is to go back to the tunnel and fight Turbo Granny so you can get uncursed. Also, he's removed all his clothes. All her clothes have been torn off or except for her underpants, and his underpants have been torn off by aliens. So he's offered her his clothes, but she's like, take your clothes back. Like, so they've got like,
I just need a
one
jacket.
outfit
Jacket's
between
fine.
them. Yeah, they're grand. They'll manage. That's why there's a lot of underpants fighting, but it's like, besides that opening bit where it's like, oh Jesus, is she in trouble? It's like, no, she's grand. Don't worry about it. We'll be grand.
Just a little bit of like, we're going to like, stimulate the arousal center in your brain. It's like, okay, right, stop it.
Well, they are creeps, so
yeah, they are. They're that.
And now we're on to our next anime. This is one about writers and pets and a situation we can all understand. It's Kinokoinu Mushroom Pop Episode 1. Kinokoinu is born. You look at it and you think this is going to be a fun, happy show about a fun, happy mushroom dog.
Wrong.
Wrong. It's
fucking dead wrong. I thought the depressing one was going to be about depressing fishing. I was fucking wrong. It was one about the cartoon fucking mushroom puppy that looks like a man. It's just like, that's the depressing one. I was like, why is that the depressing one? Also, it was the scariest one because that fucking shot towards the end, you know the fucking shot I'm talking about. I was just like, that's very threatening. I don't like anything about this situation. Aliens, fine. Like, the implied fucking sexual assault, as long as it doesn't fucking go anywhere, I'm just like, ugh, that's creepy, but I'm grand from it. That pup's capable of fucking damage. That's what I'm fucking saying.
It did burn all his like his mementos just to make a point for it. So you gotta move on with your life, okay? She's dead. Forget about it.
Yeah.
Yes. So we've got Totoro Yami, who is a picture book author, and he's mourning his dead dog, and this is interfering with his work, much annoyance too. Is she his manager or publisher? Manager, isn't she?
I think she's his manager, editor, childhood best friend. It's a little combination of a few things. So yeah,
we got a lot of hats there.
Yeah, and then one day he notices there's this weird pink spotted mushroom growing in his garden. And then
but he doesn't do anything about it because he's too lethargic of depression. Yeah.
Overnight, the mushroom pulls itself out of the ground, and beneath it is a dog, sort of.
It stands on two legs and has hands. I don't think that's a fucking dog. Also, it's a mushroom. So
it moves in. Taro is fine with this.
I did like his initial thing of just closing the fucking door when he sees this happening, and then it's kind of like mashing its face up against the fucking window like a zombie, and he's just like, maybe I should let it in. And I was like, why would that be your thought, buddy? I know you're not thinking right now, but like,
you're an author, I get a picture book author, but you probably know about Stephen King. You know how this begins. You don't want to start this into your house, do you?
I did appreciate that he immediately told his editor / best friend of just like, hey, I got this mushroom dog moving in with me. She's like, that's not fucking normal. Should we call a lab or something? I mean, I don't know any labs, but like,
yes, it's the edit of beating it and then cut to her, and it's clearly been in the house for a while because he's going, yes, it's explained to me that it's not my dog. It's not my dog reincarnated, and Kinokoinu's doing this X side with its paws.
No, it says it's not my dog reincarnated. It's a different mushroom dog, unrelated to my dog. So yeah.
Anyway, yada yada yada. It's out in the garden at midnight, setting fire to your belongings.
Like when he's like, the dog can see he's crying in his sleep. He misses his dog, that kind of shit. But when he kind of sees the clearly flames outside his fucking house, and he opens the door, and it's standing there with a fucking lighter, and his lawn's on fire. I was just like, that's bad. That's a bad dog.
Bad dog.
Yes, and the photo of his dog is the source of the fire. And he's standing there with the lighter in one paw, and the dog's collar in the other. And then stares at him, and then throws the collar into the fire.
After his acceptance of, you're right, this is the right thing to do. Yes. And I was like, this is like, I'm your dog now. You're fucking done with that fucking dog. Well, it's what it comes across as nearly. Yes, this is a silent, mostly dog.
Yes, it's the reminders we're keeping him in depression.
Yes. Yeah. He was constantly looking up to the collar in the photo and going like, oh man, I miss my dog. And it was kind of like, you think it was like, oh, this guy was so happy-go-lucky, but it shows like his memories of him as a child getting the dog. He was like a really sad-looking child as well.
Well, yes, because the key thing is it's not really his dog is mourning; it's his parents. Mourning.
It's like he literally says to his friend, like I think the kind of dog took the place of my parents. Not that the dog raised him or anything, but that his love was kind of more directed at the dog, so that kind of kept him in check. Yeah.
I enjoyed this, but boy, is it bleak! And
oh my god, so bleak.
But I'm like, do I want to watch? The thing that's tempting me to watch more is there's another one. There's another mushroom dog. and that one does look evil.
Oh, fuck! I didn't know that. Okay, that sounds pretty good.
I think called Plum. Yes, but I don't think I'll have time to watch this due to other things.
If it was a depressing short, perhaps.
Yes.
I'd find it's probably a little bit much, I just the total distance, because I can't see, no, I'm sure he might mean as well. His methods might appear brutal, but fun. You're a weird, sinister creature. I don't like you. I don't care if you kind of a QCS designs.
Yeah, that's kind of what I like about him.
It's unsettling, yeah.
That image of him in the garden. Then we learned the fire got out of control.
The fire department was called, and yeah, it all went to shit.
Oh, psychological thriller.
Oh, and he bounced back by writing a book about a zombie dog that appeared in someone's back garden. It's like, yeah, you know what this fucking story is. How are you? Oh my god.
The other good thing is it's one of the many this season anime that's adapting a complete manga, so it knows where it's going.
It knows how to pace it and everything. Yeah.
So, but not based on a manga, is Negative Positive Angler, episode 1, Negative Angler. The funniest show about a guy with a terminal illness.
About to die.
This week.
It opens with him trying to fucking hang himself, so suicide warning, but he fails, hits his head off a desk, and a bunch of magazines fall in his face. And I'm just okay, so that's not what this is going to be about.
It's not a litany of things, but saying, I'm not able to get anything right or achieve anything. I can't even kill myself properly. God damn it, whatever about anything. No, you won't, because you've got 2 years to live from inoperable brain cancer.
I mean, it's 2 years to live if you do nothing about it, is what the doctor said specifically.
Yes, because this is the problem he's got, is he is skint.
Yeah.
In fact, owes money to 3 disastrous loan sharks.
I would say the nearly friendliest loan sharks you can come across.
Yes.
They're the fucking team rocket of loan sharks.
Exactly.
Falling over each other.
They're concerned about your well-being because you do need to pay them back that money. They do need that money back, please. Yeah.
They are the exact format of Time Boken villains in terms of gender and
the lady's
shape.
The boss. Yeah.
Yep. You got a guy. I guess there's more birdies. There's not like a really tall, thin, Dick Dastardly one and a little dwarf man
with an unchanging face. Yeah.
And if Sasaki hadn't run away from them when he's at the pachinko parlor, his problems may have been solved because he had just hit the jackpot on the machine he was on. But they don't stay to collect his winnings either. They continue chasing after him.
They are also distracted by the chase, I guess. And I like the fact when he runs to the park and has a thoughtful introspection, thinking, man, my life is so gone to shit. By the time they catch up to him, they're all wheezing and puffing, fucking hell, man, how are you so fit? You got so far ahead of us. And he does a further run, and he tries to jump. He climbs up the bridge, and they're like, Jesus, man, don't fucking do it. We do want that money back eventually. We don't want you to. He falls into the drink, but he's fished up by some fishermen that he passed on the same bridge earlier on the day. But he's no longer on land. He is on a breakwater, so they'll take him back when they're going back in the morning. So it's come on, dude, we're out here fishing all night, so we're not going to sail all the way back just to bring your ass home.
Just grab a rod and join in.
Yeah.
Catch a breakfast for yourself.
And these character designs, none of them are consistent. I love it. It's great.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're in for a good time when you see the character designs of all the fishermen.
Everyone has that little roundy lip whistling fucking thing that they make. Every character, the most serious character and the most cartoony character, all make that face every now and again. I'm like, yes, that's funny. I like it.
Faces, and that dude is just doing it. That's just his face all the time. It's just
yes.
Fun. What's his story? Why are they all cool with him being around? Because he seems they call him the professor or something, or the sensei.
Eventually he does some fishing, and we get into they try to figure out what is it that they like about fishing, and they get into an argument, and
because they all like fishing for different reasons, and the pink-haired guy can't remember why he likes fishing.
Yeah, and then we get the thing where it's okay, this is probably going to be our central metaphor here, where Sasaki's fishing, and it's he's giving life to the lure, so his actions through his body on land, is giving life to an inanimate object in the water that the fish are going to mistake for something being alive. And you're like, that's a pretty good explanation of like what the joy of the fishing could be.
And even your one's kind of talking to him of like, it's like the fish are trying to survive as well. That's why they're going for the lure. They're trying to eat something to stay alive. Everything's struggling to stay alive.
Yes.
Metaphor.
It's a sense of this connection with another living thing as well, because a lot of it is just you're up inside your own then. So it's just fishing is also a good way to interact with people, wouldn't you know?
Because he catches the first fish of the night, and he nearly catches a pretty big sea bass. But they're all the fact that he failed that, we're just like, wow, did you feel the fucking strength of that guy? Wow, he was really fucking fighting, wasn't he? He did the little twist to get the hook out. That's a fucking classic thing. They're appreciating essentially their prey because this is a thing they enjoy. This is a thing that gives their life a meaning. Again, metaphor.
I got the also like say it's just got this meditative aspect to it. Because we can be out here hours and do nothing, but it's doing just the same motion over and over again, repetitive and waiting. But you're just that's all you can need to focus on, think about, so other things can actually come up or come out.
Yeah, and sometimes just existing is enough. Even though it's just like, well, isn't it cheaper to just buy fish and stuff? It's like, yeah, but catching it with your own hands like gives it more meaning is one of the guy's reasons.
Yeah, well, like I put a record bass that he would have landed that would have cost you a pretty penny in the fisherman, wouldn't it? But you caught with your own grit and gumption. You would have. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
The loan sharks briefly show up in a boat.
I was like, we got your ass, motherfucker. Oh, you're in such trouble. You won't just text the ship captain. It's like, yeah, fucking sail back to shore. And they're like, what? Why are we turning around? Ship's captain's like, we cool. It's like, don't fuck with a fisherman at sea. It's like, okay. I like the threats as
well. And then, makes good for his promise to drive him home. And unfortunately, while he was out, they demolished the block of flats he lived in.
Well, good thing he wasn't in there.
It's a good thing you were out fishing all night, I guess. Yeah.
So I guess you're going to have to take the job at the Every Mart, the store where we all work.
Store where we all work as a polycule of fishermen, as far as I can fucking
I don't
tell.
know, is that a discriminatory hiring policy where, like, you know, fisher persons preferred? It's just, oh, come on.
I think it's because of the schedule that they keep. It's probably like it's more preferable, right?
I was gonna say,
one literally comes from night to open the fucking shop. Like, yeah.
And that's our setup. He's lost his home, but he's found a whole bunch of new friends.
Bunch of weirdos to maybe learn a lesson about life and
how to crash with.
I mean, like, if not survive his terminal illness with a newfound thing of life, at least have a nice 2 last years. Like, come on, that would be good too. Do something nice.
Well,
for
if
yourself.
he just ate more fish, maybe he wouldn't have brain tumors.
Don't
mercury poisoning instead.
Mercury poisoning.
That's but you know, maybe you have a better alcohol life. You know, mercury does funny things to your brain too. You know, you could have a much more positive outlook.
Like, even it's just packed with like jokes. Like, even your man driving him home is like, he's like, oh, you can cook that yourself now. He's like, I don't know how to fucking like clean a fish and everything. Like, you got a frying pan? You can fucking eat a fish. Like, sees the destroyed home is like, are you sure you got a frying pan? You know, kind of thing. It's just like, just filled with fucking like little funny bits, one-liners, just odd characters doing odd fucking shit in a way that feels normal despite them having wildly different character designs.
It looks very appealing as well. Like, it's it's nice, like, it's like, there's out there, and it's not quite dawn, but it's not like middle of the night either. I think it could capture that kind of mood very, very well. I guess this is one of the things where you probably won't have trouble finding many animators who have this as a hobby that they can do research for.
Yeah. Business holiday, let's fucking go.
I'm down with it though. Like, I enjoy watching the Bob Mortimer and Paul Whitehouse go fishing program.
That's such a delight to fucking watch. Yeah, that's
because it's the same, like, it's like, it's a very fun, like, chilled out, like a meditative thing. Might catch fish occasionally, then there's fucking around the rest of the time. So it feels like very similar rhythm with this.
I can see that. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Bob Mortimer showed up in this. He feels like just the right kind of weirdo for this situation.
Also occasional ponderings on your oncoming inevitable death and mortality.
Yes,
That's true. That will come up during fishing. Yeah, do watch out for that.
Yeah, because this is written by Tomohiro Suzuki, who we've liked lots of things he's written,
Mhm.
such as Aka, Boogie Pop and Others, Double
Yes.
Decker, Lupin Part 4,
Uh,
One Punch Man, Tiger and Bunny, and it's the same studio who did Ballbuster, which you can tell from how the fish are animated, because they're the ones see particularly
Them and the
CG
fishing
thing.
rods, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, but the fish
Yeah.
in particular reminded
Yeah,
me of
yeah,
like
yeah.
the monsters in Ballbuster.
I think they're
like,
probably a little bit better because at least we have a real animal to reference rather than
That's
like
true.
like a very large dog with bad case of mange. Very bad case of mange.
Yes. Decadence as well, of course.
Decadence,
Yeah, which makes me like, I think the only thing they've done that I've not really liked is Saga of Tanya the Evil.
Listen, that's a lot of
This
wins
is
for
fine
one
in their
loss.
feet.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's gotten good like directors and staff coming through this working on
Yes.
things as well. It's been pretty good at that. But I don't know. It's like getting the end to come. Maybe there was also guys that kind of work till they were waiting until we have someone to feed up before we do something again like this.
Yeah.
Good at biding their time.
Yeah. So this one's staying on the list for me for sure. So
I mean, it's not just like a solid opening episode. It's like this feels good, that kind of way. It's just like, I feel like this is gonna stay around.
It's also about adults,
presenting.
so I can relate
That
to it a
helps.
lot better.
there's a lot of shows about adults this season as well.
That's true.
Smoky Witch, 365 Days to the Wedding, episode 1. Why don't we get married? Not going to carry on watching this, but it was decent. It's about two travel agents who, in order to avoid being sent to the Alaska branch of their travel agency,
whoever does the best in the fucking numbers in next year is going to be sent to head up the Alaska branch, and they're talking about the other guy who was sent to like someplace
Tahiti.
really nice. Yeah, and he was just like, "Oh, please send me home." I was like, "You're living in Tahiti, but what is your fucking problem?"
Well,
like,
I assume
maybe
most
doesn't
of his
know
family's
anyone.
in Japan. Yeah, I think that's
I guess that's yeah.
Because their worry is like, we haven't seen that guy for 4 years. That's
maybe he's actually living it up, and that's their image of him.
Yeah.
But but the idea is we're not going to send anyone married because, like, oh, my family's moving away, and then that would mess up your sports fucking team for your kid. The standard fucking thing. They don't want to do those anime tropes. So if you're unmarried, absolutely you can be up for fucking promotion to Alaska. So and he's like, well, you won. I constantly never stand up for myself. I'm the fucking office wet fucking paper towel kind of thing, and she's like always staring daggers into people, but she kind of goes like, if we got married, we wouldn't have to fucking go. And he's like, what? And it's like, and she's like, what? And he's like, no, I said what first. He's like, yeah, sorry, you did. Because she's just as awkward and stupid as him, because she just likes buying maps and going do, but doesn't actually want to travel. Like that's her.
I do like a good map. I got a calendar of maps up my sitting room.
Yes,
I know,
and
but sorry.
His only issue with going to Alaska is he doesn't want to leave his cat behind.
And it's not like he's had the cat for years or anything. This is a new rescue cat, but it's recently kind of slightly warming up to him in that it will let him see its tail while it's zooming around the fucking room like a lunatic. And he's like, okay, I'm building up my relationship with my cat. So yeah, we should get this fake marriage. He's like, don't worry, I'll handle everything. I'll make sure it's on the down low. I'll say to the manager, we're trying to keep it quiet. So if you could just like keep it like a little quiet. She's like, oh yeah, absolutely. No, I totally understand. By the way, I have extra work for you to do, and you can help him out. Here you go. Do that late into the night. Oh yeah, we're down at the Italian restaurant. It's like, it's a surprise wedding party, you motherfuckers. I've let everyone in the office know. They're all here, and they're like, shit. We've nothing rehearsed. But that's going to be the show, apparently, like making up. It's like, all right, because the second half of the episode is her going through the ideal date that he would have proposed to her on. And it's like, this would be nice if he was here, as opposed to this weird homunculus I've constructed of him in my mind where I can't remember what the fuck he looks like. And it's like,
it's the fact they're genuinely not interested in each other at the start.
You can see them growing, you can see this
growing
growing into an actual thing, but as they get to know each other for the purposes of their fake marriage. it's good, man. That's a good premise. Like, I don't
Yes.
like I said, I don't think it's something I'll continue with, but yeah.
The premise is good. The characters are good. It's just
Yeah.
not very astounding as an animation.
Yeah, no, this is absolutely delightful. Like, this is gonna really fucking be right up some people's alley. Which is great. That kind of like it's essentially like a slow burn romance about a married couple, which is just a really
Yes.
funny concept.
There's been like a couple of those in recent years. There was
Yeah.
the one like these workplace romances. There was one there that
Yes.
it sounded kind of cute. It was like you're two nerds who work in the office, but they're too cool to admit to each other that they're nerds and they also be like each other. It's just like, and they're trying to like conduct romance while dancing around, revealing their hobbies to each other, not knowing that they have the same weird hobbies or similar.
Yeah, but the thing I will say this, like, I really like the age thing. They do feel like kind of in and around millennial kind of that kind of thing. Probably a little younger than that actually, but it feels good. Again, it's not like they're really quite young, that kind of shit. It worked quite well.
Yeah, and this is another one where the comic's finished. So
yes, that is going to benefit it definitely.
It's already had a live action adaptation as well. So.
Oh yeah, I could see that working. It does look like, I hate to say it's like, oh, we're not going to continue this. It's like, because it does look good. Again,
it's
solid.
fine. Well,
like
maybe there's just too many sort of things or jockey.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Then we got Mecha-Ude episode 1, Mecha-Ude user. This show had me when they're running away and somehow our hero loses his trousers during the chase.
Fucking, it's because the arm grabs his pants, and then as he comes out of the alley, his pants are mostly down on his ankles, and I was just like, that's good, man. That's some good, very fast comedic animation for a thing that is good at the action as well.
The animation I would describe as enthusiastic more than
Choppy.
It is great.
Yeah.
But it is enthusiastic.
I think
you're getting that energy.
No, just because of the way like the mechanical arm things are just rendered, no, that could have looked absolutely garbage, and we have seen like many such bad cases of that. The fact that they've been kind of do that kind of consistently in its own sort of way and have it look not too much of a fucking jump or too much of a clash with the other animation that's there, that deserves some merit. That deserves some fucking some acknowledgement there.
I love how expressive the singular arm is with one fucking eye and an eyelid. I'm like a robot eyelid, and I was just like, that thing's crazy expressive for just the details of I got a eyeball in my thumb, and it is very expressive, like in a different way to freaking, what was the thing we were comparing it off? Parasite. That's it. Can think of it because it's like my hand's a guy, that kind of way. But this is an extra arm.
It feels more like kill. It feels more like kill the kill with the way that the eyes are.
Yeah. I was definitely getting those kind of inspiration, those kind of vibes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And obviously, then Kill la Kill is being inspired by Gutsy Frog of being dragged around by something attached to your clothing,
a sentient whatever.
So yes, our hero Hikaru Amatsuga sees from distance something going on at the Kagami Group building, which turns out this is an organization called Arms have broken in to steal the trigger arm or Alma. It goes flying into a construction area, which is what Hikaru sees, and it's calling out to him for his help. So it goes to school the next day and then hears the voice again after discussing it with his friends.
Again, the reluctant hero, I think, is played rather well because he's just like, I want to help people, but I'm really socially awkward because he wants to give up his seat to the pregnant woman on the train, but he's kind of like, should I fucking say something? Is that fucking assuming a lot? And then someone else gives up the seat before him, and he's just like, oh, yeah. But this thing is like, help me. And he's like, if I can help someone, oh Jesus, it's a weird robot arm. What the fuck?
Yes.
But it's initially a cube, and then he touches it, and it becomes an arm attached to the inside of his hoodie.
Yes.
Because I think his fumbling makes it fall into the back of his hood, basically.
It doesn't know its name. It doesn't know where it's come from.
It's very friendly. It's like, oh, I should introduce myself. I don't know what my name is. So
I should, but I can't. So sorry.
They're then attacked by a delivery drone, which sprouts circular saws.
I was
and
thinking, man, that
identify
is the
some
fucking
hostiles.
that's the upgrade of fucking Robot Wars. Fucking get some drones, put some buzzsaws on the guns.
Well, see,
Let's
it's a
fucking go.
buzzsaw thing that didn't really explain. It's fun thing. Oh, it'd be some kind of gun or maybe like a claw to capture fun saying, no, it's here to kill you, not like quickly. It's going to do a buzzsaw. It's just want to fucking carve you up. It just seems like, a bit of a cruel and the design.
Then we fly across the city to check in on the Kagami group, who are a bunch of Tokusatsu-style villain groups of various ages, discussing which one of them's going to do what to recover the trigger arm. We also get Aki from ARMS trying to track down.
She was at the hullabaloo at the corp the prior night when Alma went missing, and she's technically tracking it down, but she seems to be dicking around.
Yes. Every time we cut to her, she's eating a different fast food.
Just a lot of calories, because she's got like putting lefty and righty to feed as well.
So does she show up and then they fight the more drones, or fight the more drones
drones
first,
show up and then
shows
like there's a commotion over there, and she's just like, hang on, I got first. Okay, we'll go.
Yeah, so she starts
to her face. It's like, okay, I gotta spring into action and be really intimidating now.
She shows up to fight the drones. A dude comes up with a different arm, which is like a cool wolf hand thing that turns into a sword, and he's like, I have it on a chain. Like, it's figurative because I'm controlling it, even though it's an independent entity, but it's like a dog on a chain. You see, it's clever. And the guy is like, both of these people seem like bad news, so I'm going to leave my arm here and take off. And he's like, my arm is dying the further I get away from it. And the long sequence of him going like, you're dying. Oh, he's okay. He's dying. He's okay. It's just back and forth. I was just like, I guess I do gotta rescue you then. And also,
why's he putting that on? You could be putting that on.
Yeah.
But the red lights start switching off, so probably means something bad happening to him.
Yeah,
I did like when the first time when Aki confronts them, and one of her arms is being rude to him, and the other one breaks out this instructions that they're supposed to be following when they introduce themselves.
One of her arms is polite, and the other one's really fucking rude. Because I did notice that while she was eating. Because one of the arms was like, "Yeah, let's fucking kick some ass," and the other one's like wiping her mouth with a handkerchief, and I was like, "Oh, that's good."
But so you would think the sinister arm would be the evil one, be the rude one, but actually it's the opposite.
And then Aki gets in a fight with Hikaru and the trigger arm, who apparently is called Alma. And they managed to get away from Aki.
Phew, good thing we'll never see her again. Yes. Time to go to school. Yes. Class, we have a new friend joining us. Okay.
And then we check in.
Her thing of I'm Aki, and she and you dude's like, hot new girl, sit next to me, and she just grabs the desk, lifts it over her fucking head, slams it where it shouldn't be, right beside him. Is like, hey, fucking, I'm new in school. How's it going? It's just like, I know who the fuck you are, and I'm very cross that I'm not eating pizza right now.
Yeah, so the arms are after this arm, the Kagami group's after this arm, and then we see finally some sort of silver-haired child who this arm apparently belongs to in the first place is also after this arm.
This seems very silly in a good way. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, everyone chasing Hikaru around trying to get hold of Alma.
Also, him having to smuggle a spare arm in his hoodie, and he's like, "Oh, so this is school." He's like, "Shut up, mechanical arm! Get back in my hoodie."
Yep, bringing your arms to school.
Yeah.
I can see how that could be troubling. Phrasing there for some people.
Yeah.
And obviously, there's like a Fooly Cooley vibe to some of it as well.
Oh, so I was just imagining
the hands are so nice. Yeah,
it's the hand thing. I was thinking that's that big one that had like the duster and the fucking shotgun in that one episode. I was like, oh yeah, it's totally that, because we've all made a little man with your hands who walks around.
Yeah. And like you said, like, while the animation is like kind of choppy and far too overexcited, where it's like, I'm not 100% sure what's going on, but it has those little moments of like the arm actually accidentally pulling his pants down as he's trying to escape. It's just like, it keeps in the comedy as well. So yeah, that's
it's pretty frenetic, but it's all there.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you just like squint and freeze frame, it's all there.
Then we've got 2 episodes of Trillion Game this week. The World's Most Selfish Man and Startup, in which we're introduced to our 2 heroes. Haru Tanoji, the world's most selfish man, he declares himself as, and Gaku Taira, the
whiz kid, the number
whiz
cruncher,
kids,
the brains
computer
of the
genius.
The engine of the operation, as he's referred to, yes.
We see them as high school children, where Haru rescues Gaku from some muggers, and then Gaku rescues Haru from the police.
I did like that.
Haru...
So like it looked like I was randomly accosting some other youths, but I knew where the security camera was. But that fucking van moved. I was blocking the view, and he's like, "Oh, the computer that I bought that those thugs were trying to rob off me. I can probably hack into. It's a pretty old system." It was like clackety clackety clack. It's oh, this is fucking nerd shit I see on the fucking TV. It's like, so you're the smart computer whiz guy. You're gonna go places, son.
Yes.
Cut to fucking after school, and the job hunt is terrible. It sucks. A lot of like that comes up a lot as well. Again, we're talking about a lot of adults in this, so yeah, talking about how fucking trying to find a job sucks comes up a bunch.
Sure does.
Yeah, so they're both college graduates. They both go for interviews at Dragon Bank. This was Gaku's dream job. We see it's a panel interview, and there's 2 old guys and 3 old guys, and Kirika Kokuryu, the daughter of the president, known behind her back as Kirihime. And like these old guys, she's smart and can identify talented people. So
they're the standard thing, because I was thinking it was the standard like thing where you have 3 motherfuckers sitting across the table from you, and they're all like to do different things. I know how this fucking system works, and then they're like, "Stop fucking interfering with our process."
Well, these guys are coming in with the fun stock answers, and they're not even noticing. It's like, well, he was dressed well and very polite, so he gets a pass from me. But you can have the same story about when I was in my high school club. I learned a lot about leadership.
My biggest flaw is that I overwork for less pay. It's just like, very good. And she's like, no. And so our nerd boy comes in, and he's fucking stumbling over himself and a chair and everything else. And he's talking about how he always wanted to work with them because he loved the computer magazine. They're like, we don't do publishing anymore. He's like, yeah, I know that, but I did notice your DDoS attack that you got last year, and I assume it's because you're using this system. And he's talking about it with knowledge and experience and thing. And she's like, fucking double circle. Like, he's obviously shit at people fucking interaction, but he obviously got this far by knowing enough to get this fucking far. So obviously we need to look into this guy.
He knew something the president announced that these 3 guys did not know about.
They thought he was making something up, and it's like, no, that's a thing. Yeah.
And of course, Haru's goes wonderfully because he's glib and a liar, and Kirika's the only one who cottons on that he's a liar. But
I like her. Yeah, it's still like that's good as well. It's important to have. I like her thing of
you
just
speak 20 languages. Is that correct? Yep.
I speak every language actually.
As long as there are no further questions, yep, I do.
You said, in languages, you said all. Is that correct? It's like, yes, absolutely. And she tests him on that, and he passed somehow.
Yes, French and Chinese. I assume he knew enough. I assume he'd figured out what languages she spoke.
Yeah. But I did like her thing of just like, he's like, when people lie, they add like truth to the lie so they can be caught out. And it's just like, see, you added the truth to like make it more real. But he's just nothing he said is fucking correct right now. He's just absolute fucking
like we say keep digging. He's found a way to keep digging and like dig a tunnel like to freedom. It's like he was digging the wrong direction.
If you ask him a follow-up, it will be also complete nonsense he has just made up, but he says it with such confidence. He's like, yeah, no, that's good. We do need people like that in the company. So yeah.
And then, because when he went on the enrollment day and saw that his mate was not on the enrollment day, he immediately resigned, paid one of the window cleaners, because Gaku was working on it as a window cleaner at this point, to use his harness, and then spray a message in shaving foam well, they do their business plan in shaving foam first.
Oh
He
yeah,
does, he does the Dr. Stone road plan, but it's the most
classic
bullshit.
Reacher in the Gaki, yeah, looking
But it's a
pathway to
bullshit road
freedom.
plan. It was like, all right, so we get a lot of fucking money, right? Then we get a bunch of chicks, and it's just like it's
And then
nonsense,
promise.
basically. Yeah,
$1
yeah,
trillion.
essentially.
It's that simple, Gaku.
And he
Yes,
runs
'cause
out
what-
of
yeah.
building to work his road plan on this multi-fucking story bank. Basically, it's just like, yeah,
What's the message he leaves for the
You are all
president?
mine.
you're all
Yeah,
mine. Basically,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Or
think you're right.
you
Or
will be mine,
I'll
or
take you all. I'll take you all
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, but while looking at her directly while he's spray painting this on their
Yes.
fucking window. Which
Oh yes, because I assume these two are just going to be constantly flirting with each other throughout the
yeah,
series.
yeah, very much.
Yeah, it's not just women. It's specifically this is the point at which we'll sleep with TV anchors. Is his point on his business plan?
That was it. That was the important point on his business plan. It's like
Yes.
that's how you get in the know.
Yeah, and so then the second episode we start with present
very
day.
important
There's also
chair.
been a flashback because
The opening of the first episode was like, "How did I get in this situation?" You're probably wondering how I got here, and it like cuts to
And he's
this.
staring over his like his penthouse suite, the butler's popping champagne. It's just like, oh, another day in the grind. You know, I was young once. You know, I had aspirations, ideals. I wonder what happened. How did I get this far?
So the second episode, he's getting his office done up, which is like the penthouse office, as far as I can tell. It's got a like not even like a small bar, like a gigantic fucking bar attached to it. But he wants to keep his old shitty office chair because that's the office chair that he spent all our startup fucking money on when we were first the startup. Cuts to that of him spending all the money on the office chair. It's like, oh man, I only bought like these 200 yen cushion. He's like, no, the chair's for you. You're like, as I've explained, it's the perfect farting receptacle. So that will get so much productivity done. His fucking description of how mesh means you don't have to lean over to fart. It was very fucking funny, and I did enjoy
that could be
it.
like a record, like, you know, tank a business deal if you want, like, you know, to be like a directed toward a safe zone, so not into the eyes of a potential client.
Dear.
Yeah, and then it's them going around trying to attract investors because they've spent all their startup money already on a chair.
Yeah, and the problem is they have no fucking business plan, but he's like, but look at this. I made this fucking PowerPoint presentation. It's got like a map of the world and different fucking spots marked on it and like a progress bar of nonsense.
I asked for too much. It's just like, okay, I'm in for 3 million. No, 50 million. What? Oh, that's too much. Get out of my office. If I'm saying, Harry, what are you doing? He was in for 3 million. It's like, yeah, but that's all he was in for. We need someone who's like, we can keep get this money train to go on. Gotta aim high, aim for the moon and miss.
Aim for the moon every time. His friend's getting really exasperated. This was like, don't worry, I got
Gaku does like say like, how are you so like mentally resilient? How do you keep getting back up and getting like crushed down so many times?
And he's basically like, oh, it's kind of like those pickup artists. It's like they get shot down like 99% of the time, but it's because they go 100 times. They're eventually successful. Essentially, is his plan.
Everything really creepy though. No, it's okay. Don't never mind those details. Just move swiftly on to the potential source of income.
The next one's a sure thing. Like they basically owe me at this stage, so we're absolutely going to get it. And wouldn't you know it, it's the president's daughter who
you know her too.
He hasn't even brought up a meeting with it. It's just like, hey, her bodyguard, can I have a meeting with her? Tell her it's the guy who spray painted the fucking windows. She'll know who. And she's just there in her personal gym, going like, all right, this is going to be fucking funny. Like, okay, what do you got, boys? And he's going to say, all right, you listen to my business plan. If I do as many reps as I can, how about that? Like, does that sound like a deal? So obviously our nerd kid tries it first, and he can't even lift the bar much. But your man's like, I'm going to lift all these weights. And the person is like, how about I put all these extra ones on? And he's, but that's a new Japanese record. Holy shit. How is he doing that while giving his business plan? Not really a plan, really. But...
Oh my gosh, I can't believe in this business so much. You get me super strength assist. Oh my god. It's just unhuman.
So
well,
yeah,
like you believe it too. Like you see the bare chested one saying, yeah, he knows he's the face of the business and the body. He will do anything. I mean, anything just to get this up and running.
That's step 3. Sleep with all the TV anchors. Yeah. So definitely.
Yes, the reason he was able to do such a world record is because the weights he originally put on were made of polystyrene.
But your man did put on real weight, so she's
Yes.
a little impressed. She saw him putting on the polystyrene ones while he was taking care of the nerd guy on the bar. But it's like, okay, I mean, he did lift a little weight, so his words were backed up, and also that was pretty slick how he put those pre-med polystyrene weights for this very situation. It's very like the Joker's plans. It's just like he must have planned this some fucking time in advance. It's like, okay, so her weights are red. I'll need to paint the polystyrene red, that kind of fucking thing. Yeah.
So she agrees to give them the money there and then in a briefcase.
100 million. Whoa,
Yes.
double what we thought we'd get.
Because initially when she was saying, I just want to do it once time, and you guys were fucking with me with the weight, so I was fucking with you, and I thought it was just like, a bill on top and a bill on the bottom, but like paper in the middle. It's like, no, it's 100 million.
It's all real.
I'm not fucking with you.
It's all in there. No, it's no fun. No, you get so few opportunities to do it. You see it all the time in the films, like in that.
Yeah.
It's actually a lot smaller in real life. Oh yeah, it is.
Also, the price of the suitcase is coming out of the whole thing. But no,
You got to return that afterwards. Yeah. Oh, of course.
Her like, why are you fucking doing this? It's like, oh, because I plan on owning your fucking asses. That's basically my plan here. So good luck, boys. See you later, I suppose. Because she did want them for the business in the first place.
Yes.
So this means that they fucking owe her. So when their business fails, as she assumes that it will, they'll be on the fucking pay.
I don't know if she assumes it will fail, but she's just
she's interested to see if it'll fail.
Some saucy boy. This I can have some fun with.
She wins either way, basically. Yeah.
She's like, oh, I'm just so bored of these boardroom types. If only there was a little bit of eye candy around the office. Oh, here we are.
Dear.
Yeah, and that's where we leave after the second episode. It's I just like these Inagaki written heroes who could easily be a villain in another series.
Be the villain in nearly anything else. They'd be the villain, or in the case of one of our fucking heroes, the victim of any other fucking story. He might still be the victim of this. It's not clear yet.
I think that's by some folks having a little bit of trouble kind of getting their head around. It's just like, I'm just diametrically opposed to this like fucking huckster fucking broy guy trying to swindle you out of your money. It's like, it's like, it's in my DNA, I can't do it. But it's just like, yeah, but it's like a probably not caricature, but it can be a fun, kind of fun caricature of what these kind of guys can be. And it's also inherently ridiculous, and it's feeding into a long line of like a manga tradition here of like the climbing the office ladder, but to a ridiculous degree. Because now go formal company and become trillionaires.
He wants to have more money than was it Microsoft, Sony, and
Google combined.
Yeah. Like slight cuts of their fucking logos because we can't show the full logo because we don't have that kind of money yet.
It's so simple. Like if go together, they own most of the world. If you had more money than them, then you could do anything that they can and more. It's like, of course, it's so simple. I just need lots of money.
I just need the most money ever. Good stuff.
Yeah. That's interest to see, if they get, the Ryuichi Ikigami detailed character designs. They did reuse the same shot of a childhood Gaku in his first room, his first computer. He's like, oh, look at him. Sorry, they do that about 4 or 5 times. We cuts back when I was a boy, we had computers, and they cut back that same one over and over.
That was his whole childhood knowledge. That was it from start to fucking finish. Just him in
a tiny room. We were happy, but we're actually weren't. We were sad, but we were very happy.
Anyway, back this week is Noble Farmer. Look for it wherever you find your fan subs because no one's licensed it. Episode 15, Compost. Nobody wants to license shorts about Compost.
Come on.
Well, it's very environmentally aware.
I was fascinated to get your thing on this because I feel like you probably have some stories about cow shit.
I was I was fortunate enough, we didn't have that fucking sketch comedy ready thing of getting actually destroyed by the manure spreader.
Yeah.
slurry tank, I was mostly like aware of the slurry tank over that as this source of constant fear and dread, because it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
no, you don't want to go near, because like if you fall into it, it will like suck you under and you're just dead. Also, the fumes it emits on the methane, it just like, it can just like knock you out, make you dizzy, and you're going to fall in, then you're dead. It's just like,
Yeah, I remember the
it was not a
PSAs
funny
they
thing
made
to
back
go
in the
near.
day of horrific child death.
Yep.
Yeah.
We laugh now, like I'm sure that Roma Arakawa is fun saying, we laugh now, but yeah, it wasn't very funny, especially like, not when you were getting covered in it, because your
Yeah.
dad is just like, okay, it was fun, just take the bag out, it's caught in the fucking works of it. Okay, I'm letting it go again.
Yeah, just missing the rhythm once. You only need to miss it once for your child to be covered in shit.
Yeah, between 2000 and 2010, drowning in slurry or water was responsible for 30% of child deaths on farms.
Fucking hell.
And also 8%
I'm
of
laughing
deaths
because I was
involving helping
horrified as a
workers.
child to watch those things. I'm not laughing at children being killed in slurry pits. It was just like it stuck in my head as a child. I'll tell you that much.
Yes. Yeah. I'm sure I was aware, I'd be more aware of it if I was at more farms, but obviously, we're horticultural land round where I grew up rather than
Right.
livestock. So less of an issue.
Hmm.
Probably being poisoned by multiple pesticide sprays throughout my youth instead. Yeah, so exploitation of compost. You obviously get the story of being covered by the muck spreader. And then the final one is her locking away a memory when she realised that something her grandmother made
The
was
delicious squash she grew in her field was made out.
Oh,
no, that was human compost. We're eating vegetables grown from humans.
What do you call those pits you shit into? That's what
A
the editor's
cesspit.
asking. Yeah.
Or
And it's like, no.
a latrine, an outdoor latrine. The outhouse.
The editor's asking about that, and it's like, no, that's for human remains. That's not used on Granny's house. What was Granny using? No, forget it. That's gone. Lock that away. Don't fucking think about those vegetables no more.
Yeah, it's exactly the same as how we left it.
Yeah. I forgot
fun.
about your man at the start, and he's screamy. And I'm just like, oh
Super
yeah,
achiever, yes.
It always, like, when I forget about it, it's like, oh Jesus, like it's like a blast. It's pleasant.
Yeah.
Story the whole family can enjoy. About shit.
Then we got Magilumiere, Magical Girls Inc. Episode 1. Welcome to Magilumiere, Magical Girls Inc. Which we are in a world where there are hundreds of privatized magical girl companies operating because of, what's the monster called that keeps appearing?
Oh Jesus, I keep
Kai,
yeah,
that's it.
Kai.
Creatures
I was
called
thinking,
Kai are
right,
appearing.
It's basically like Magical Girl version of that Ghostbusters RPG you were telling us about, where it's franchised everywhere.
Yeah,
basically.
it's more like the original Dan Aykroyd's original story for Ghostbusters, where his world setting was that there was loads of rival ghostbusting companies.
Oh, okay, right.
So, and as I enjoyed this,
on
I was
your
like,
new anime, Dan Aykroyd.
yes, I was like, maybe Harold Ramis and Ivan Reitman were wrong, and Dan Aykroyd's script was a good idea.
Yeah. Jesus never recognized in its time. Yeah.
So we're introduced to Atomi Koshigaya, one of these magical girls, as she's lost her broom, TM, and is having to ride on the back of 2 motorcycles to fight a giant guy.
Yeah, she's enlisted 2 civilians and is standing either foot on either of their motorbikes. She's like, just keep it steady and get a little ahead of this fucking thing that this giant monster is chasing us, so I can fucking shoot this cunt. And they're just like, we are very scared civilians. Please don't let us die. She's like, it'll be grand. Giant explosion. Downloads it into a USB. I still don't understand why that's happening. I'm not that far into the comic that I do understand.
They're office ladies, so everything's on USB
I suppose,
now.
yeah. And blows it up, and then kind of gets a bollocking from he's not the manager, he's the what is his job? I can't think of
the manager's out today.
Yes. He's got, I guess, like dispatch.
Yeah, he's one of the guys who does sales and stuff as well, but he's kind of like, don't stop involving civilians in your wild escapades, please. It's an insurance nightmare, and we have to send them fruit baskets and shit. But he does say we are hiring another magical girl, so we know you were under stress from shooting giant monsters with lasers. So yeah,
and then we meet meanwhile Kana Sakuragi, a college graduate on a job hunt. So that's the second.
I've heard that before.
More grown-ups doing grown-up stuff. It's a workplace comedy essentially about shooting monsters with lasers.
And she's at this. She goes to this terrible job interview at this terrible company who haven't been checking their meeting rooms for Kai.
Those guys were the best fucking villains I've seen in a long time. And it was just it's just like, it's so expensive to get the fucking inspector to come in. It's like, we don't be under code. The AC's it's actually freezing in this room, like literal ice. Is like just fucking turn on the heating. It's fucking grand.
Just don't go in that room. It's fine.
We only use it once a year for interviews anyway, so who fucking cares? All the interviews, like knees knocking in there. What the fuck is up with this company? I think I'm going to quit immediately over the fucking cold if this is what every office is like.
By a very brutal interview tactic.
It turns out it's because there's an ice Kai in the ventilation system. It emerges and they have to call up the closest magical girl
the closest,
company.
Cheapest, and quickest magical girl company. It's like I search parameters like this one. Hey, can you guys say you can come straight away? It's like, yeah, absolutely. It just appeared now. Yeah, no problem. She'll be right over.
Is a must. Yeah, sure.
And she kind of arrives. It's like, you said it just appeared now. That's been there for months. What the fuck is going on? You guys are not up to code.
Jesus, here's your problem.
The two manager guys kind of going, it's like, are we going to get in trouble with this? It's like, no. Inspection's not our fucking duty. That's a different fucking guys. They'll get in trouble for that. And I'm like, fuck you guys so much. And she's like, all right, so I need to like have the tablet open so I can reload my fucking magical ammo. It's like, can I get a volunteer from the crowd? And they're just like, we're not fucking doing that. We're not fucking paying for that. Maybe someone in sales. And I was like, oh, you fucking guys, I hate them so much. And obviously our girl kind of puts her hand up. Is like, yep, I can do that for you. That's
like,
cool.
And they're like, this won't impress us. This won't help your job interview. She's like, I don't want to work for you anyway.
I don't want to die. Thanks. Don't get frozen to death inside your fucking shitty office.
Yeah. So she shoots the magical spells at her from at the monster from her magical wand, and this is like, you got the wrong ammo loaded up here. And it's like, what? It's like, oh shit, that's the ammo from the last job. Fuck. It's like the speed ammo rather than it stays still ammo. Apparently there's a difference, but yeah.
Luckily, she studied this UI, and so she can find where the correct ammo is.
As we saw in her other job interview, she actually extensively studies the thing. Again, the thing of she knew something about the company, like they were opening a branch in India or something. They're opening a theme park in India, and they're like, where'd she pull that out? It was like, no, we're doing that. The CEO let it slip in an interview in India. It's like, she must have translated that from Hindi. It was only in an Indian newspaper. It's like the people who go the extra mile are not appreciated in the job market. But in this case, she's like, yeah, I studied the interface because I wanted to apply to the guys who make this program. So I can load up the correct ammo as well.
Yep, she does. Takes it down. How exactly does it end to the offer?
She brings her back to the office so she can get a ball kick. It's like, did you involve another civilian? It's like, no. She's our new magical girl. And then the manager comes in dressed in all his frilly wonderfulness. Yeah.
Just again, the most like sullen, dour, geez, I have not had a holiday in well over a decade face. It's just like, all right, well, we got here then.
The boots stomping, and he's wearing like the nice fucking the petticoats and stuff, and I was just like, it's a good look. But he's perfectly nice. Like, he's just rough looking.
He really loves magical girls. Really loves them. Like you can tell. Like he's just in here for love of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's as a cartoon when the action's happening, it looks pretty good. Other times, not so much. There's a bit when they're rushing down a corridor on the broom, which is very basic, and it looks like she's flying past entirely two-dimensional people. There's very little depth to it.
The thing that's really not fucking helping it as well is that like there's some of those three-dimensional like first-person running shots in blue. It's blue box or blue
Blue
lock.
Box.
I
No,
always keep mixing up the
There is
two.
the Blue Lock is
That's
a
the-
different sports anime about football.
Yeah. See, that's what's
Or as they
throwing
call
me.
it, soccer. Soccer.
But Blue Box has that kind of like first-person camera view and it has that wonderful fucking lighting. And in comparison to this, it's like, yeah, you're kind of suffering in comparison to how good that fucking show looks. Yeah.
Well, you can always read it. I've been reading it. I'm actually fine
I need to catch up on it, but yeah, it is quite good. I am enjoying it. Just a reminder to do it, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think if there was less other good things, I'd keep this on my list. But I think let's say
Yeah,
just do what
the
you
idea
do.
is solid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we've got finally this week the stories of girls who couldn't be magicians. Episode 1. I want to be a magician.
Oh, bad news. The title of the show is "You Cannot Be a Magician," so definitely not going to happen by the end of the episode. Don't think about it. Don't even think about it.
Definitely nobody's going to show up at the end of the episode and tell all the people who were told they could be magicians that she was going to make them magicians.
Guess
definitely not
what?
going to happen.
This show is fucking like constant, like breakneck back and forth. I can't keep track of where it's going.
It is very pastel.
I love how it looks.
It's delightfly pastel. Yeah.
It's just like it's a novelty to see something that has this like old this old kind of magical girl shoujo manga kind of like palette to it.
Yeah.
I think that's because it's the director of Slayers who's just like that's just all he kind of knows. It's like kind of it's like kind of
right.
a sort of era of style and design. It's like bring it in. But he's the chief director.
Lily Hoshido doing the original character designs for it. It's based on a web novel, and that'd be why he introduced so many goddamn characters in the very first episode.
Yeah. Okay.
Because when you're a comic, you like, I'll just give it to 6 at most. That's probably the most, probably less than that really for the first chat story. Because I don't want to draw all those characters, but because it's a novel and a web novel, serialized web novel, where you think this might not go on very long, I need to get all my ideas on the page as quickly as possible. Because the story of somebody going to a school for a specialized skill where everybody has the specialized skill, that's common across loads of manga. And I was like, what's different about this? It's like, yeah, that must be why it's got so many characters all introduced in the first episode. To which my brain was straining to distinguish any of them. We've got Mirai, who's the main character. She met a magician when she was younger who gave her a notebook. Turns out by the end of the episode, this is a notebook she should not have. This is for the proper magicians to have.
I'm not sure it's illegal, but it's definitely not. She's not supposed to have it. Yeah, because while she did score at the top in the high school or middle school, I'm not exactly sure, exams to get into magical school, she had no magical acumen. So you've been putting the basic program or something. She
aced the written test.
It's the idea you're going to a prestigious school, but you're not going to the magical side of the school. You're not going to be taking any magical class.
It's sort of like remember in My Hero Academia, there were like the kids on the business course. It's like, that's where you go with the fucking like no. My quirk is I can fucking I don't know write really quickly. That's all though. That's my always super speed is when I'm holding a pen.
Yes, and the notepad which we later see in action that the magicians use feels like a toy you would sell to a young girl, except this is a show that airs only in the middle of the night, so it's only a nostalgic exercise for adults.
See, the thing was, I was getting the toyetic vibes of it, absolutely, but then I was like, that's a fucking Pokedex. That's a fucking personal organizer from the fucking late 90s kind of thing. I was like, I know what fucking that is. But no one modern will use that because we all have fucking phones that are far more advanced than any of that shit.
What I also think is going on is what's happened with you is that like, oh, these look pretty good like when they're throwing spells up and imagine notebooks here, but those are all like pre-programmed into it. Like once you just press a button and get it out, it's like there's no fucking like craft to it anymore. So I think the lesson going to be before saying you can't be a magician that way, but there's more than one way to do magic, maybe if you actually learn that the fundamentals, there's actually like there's a lot more to it.
Yeah, draw your own runes instead of like getting them from a notebook like a fucking scrub.
Yeah, so it was making me think of Witch Hat Atelier as well, where the secret is magic must not be known to the common people, because if they knew you could just like write or draw this like with anything that's with ink in Make the Steel, then it would be absolute chaos. We must have it be this mysterious, like walled off thing that only a few people are allowed to access or know about.
Yeah.
So yes, we got Mirai. We got her friend who she's sharing a room in the dorm with. We've got the posh girl who hasn't made it to the magic side of the school with her 2 hangers on.
I shouldn't be here, but I am.
Yeah, we've got the pair of twins, one of which is in learning to be a magician, the other one's in the other class. The one who's in the magician class is like, but you could have got into the magician class. What are you up to, dear brother? What's your plan? There is a guy who wants to be a reporter. There is like the heads of the various different types of magic on the magic school class from the previous years who are going to do a display which gets out of hand. There's an evil magician who's using a dog to make spells go crazy.
There is an owl acting suspiciously. There is a cat acting suspiciously. There's a capybara that hasn't done anything yet, but you know that capybara is going to do something.
Oh yes, because the guy with the capybara is going to be teaching the first years of the magician school, but the person who's supposed to be teaching the first years of the other class has disappeared or is not available. They're looking for
I
a
did like
replacement.
their welcome to orientation. The magicians will be taught by this prestigious magician, and the other people
We're
to
still
be
looking forward to
decided.
you. Yes.
So back to class, and I was just like, what the fuck are they going to do in class without a fucking teacher?
Well,
just mess around for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes. The good news is a small child with the voice of a middle-aged woman shows up and she can do magic without one of those notepads. She can just use it freehand with a wand. And she's going to be their teacher, and she gives them all their notepads, which are literally notepads, not
just blank sheets of paper.
Yeah. Yes.
PDAs,
they're like actual old. I remember having one of these. I think early on in my secondary school years, where it was like the school notebook, where it would have bits of information about the school as well as space to write in. I think that may only have happened in my first year there. I think they may have done away with it subsequently.
Yeah. We had journals. We had journals. You had to kind of like write what our homework for the various thing was, and then they had to like keep track of it and cross it off, and then once a week or something like that, you need to have your journal like checked and your parents to sign at certain junctures. It's just like, I don't know, keeping tabs on your learning by at a remove, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the ending is the reveal that I'm going to teach you how to do magic, even though you're not supposed to learn how to do magic. I don't need this newfangled technology. I'll show you the old-fashioned way. Me, a small child with the voice of a middle-aged woman.
don't need no gizmos like pens.
Yeah, it's a little overwhelming.
It's a lot.
About characters.
I enjoyed it, but it is a lot. Yeah.
I feel like it's throwing a lot off. Like you can't just write off. Here's like the fucking student council, but that's what they kind of kind of slot into. So this is like, we'll get around to them later. I felt like it was mostly the main gal, her best pal, some of the teachers, and that aloof one is going to be their friend, and then the tiny woman who shows up at the end.
But they made sure like everyone gets a little thing to do, because even the fancy lady who shouldn't be in the class with the peons, her 2 goons, like one of them gets like they both get personality traits. One of them is just like, everyone fucking put your chairs in like neat and tidy, like she's very obsessed with order and stuff. So even the goons have fucking personalities. I'm just like, fucking hell, yeah, it's a lot of different caricatures to, I guess, play off each other down the line. Yeah.
So this is on the edge for me. We'll see what next week brings.
It's very, very nice.
That's the
it does
thing.
look lovely.
Very nice. And it is very nostalgic. Even though I know that's what it's going for, and I'm falling into its trap.
You're like, the notebooks from my school when they stopped doing them. Yeah.
As I've said often in the past, we're fine with pandering as long as it's to us.
Yes.
Perfectly fine.
Thankfully, less new things. In fact, some of the new things aren't just getting subtitles anyway, so
makes it easier.
So next week I'm planning on additionally watching Orb on the Movements of the Earth, Ranma 1/2,
Mm-hmm.
A terrified teacher at Ghoul School, which I think I was not going to watch.
This a bit. Why am I lukewarm on that now?
There was no subtitles for Mecha-Ude, the guy that got reincarnated as a cat, but I could pretty much tell what was going on regardless, because it's only 90 seconds long.
I mean, that's very short. We do like a short.
Tono Inu, don't know where that's going to appear.
I don't know about that one now either.
And then the last thing will be Dragon Ball Daima on Friday.
Like I feel like they're gonna have to really screw the pooch on that one for that not to be a lock immediately.
It does have a lot more weight of expectation about it now.
That's true.
Considering recent real world events.
Obviously, like with his passing, fucking terrible. And initially, I wasn't interested. And I was like, Chibi Dragon Ball, and he's like, yeah, go on, you guys make a Chibi Dragon Ball. Hey, I could give you a few tips if you like. And so it's basically the last thing he's worked on because then he got heavily involved in it, and therefore is more likely to be fun. Is basically the thing. Yeah.
It is. I'm looking what the person who wrote it, and I'm like, really, is there anything here I love? And I'm thinking, no. Director, series director is Aya Kamaki. When the phrase "buddy daddies" appear, my heart does sink a little bit.
Such promise.
But I didn't finish that. I heard it got better later.
Okay, fair enough.
Go back to it.
I mean, I'll still check it out. I mean, I don't have my levels of excitement super high for it. So anyway, so
what do we got from the continuing and this week?
Well, for me, it's going to be Conan, but he was not there next week.
When it's there, yeah.
Chibi Godzilla.
Yeah.
Dan to Dan, Negative Positive Angler, Mecha-Ude, Trillion Game. Noble Farmer doesn't count, it's a short. Stories of Girls Who Couldn't Be Magicians. I think 2 of those might disappear again after I add things next week. But
sure. But you'd be curious to check out like a second one. Yeah.
Well, no, it's 5 and 2 shorts, so that's fine, I think. Yeah, so I'm pretty certain I'm going to carry on watching Ranma because I've already watched that. Spoiler alert for next week.
I kept my powder dry on that one. I don't want to get it muddled up with too much else in there because, like, I want to check that out. I've always seen like bits and pieces of people reacting to it. So they've kind of sanded down some of the fine details on it.
Yes, nipples.
And butt cracks. And arse cracks as well. No arse cracks allowed.
The nippleless breasts was the most surprise, particularly because it comes after a visual gag which suggests they're not going to show any breasts. And it was a funny, but they got me, and I was like, okay, now I can see the problem.
It's on Netflix. Who's going to stop you?
Yeah.
Netflix.
Well, I don't think that's the issue. I think it's probably TV airing.
And they had the nipples back in the home release.
just bring in your boy from Plastic Little, just to fire him, just to add all the nipples back in.
We got one last job for you. Been waiting all my life for.
Right, that's giving me a coughing fit. So let's end the episode.
Yes. Good night, everybody.
Bye.